Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of 37 Seconds, a Japanese movie that hit film festivals in 2019 but got a wider release just this year. So our protagonist in this film is a 23-year-old girl who has cerebral palsy, and she lives with her very protective mother, who basically controls every aspect of her life. The only time when she's out of her house is when she goes to work and makes manga drawings. She actually draws for manga publications, and she's actually pretty talented at it. But her business partner is an attractive and popular girl who basically takes credit for her work. So her only outlet for personal growth and development is also being stifled. So our protagonist has had enough of all of this nonsense. So she interviews and goes out on her own and interviews with some other manga publishers and magazines and stuff like that. And she comes across a science fiction sex magazine that interests her. And the editor tells her that her work is good, her drawings are good, but that she lacks worldly experience. So this editor recommends that our protagonist try and engage in some sexual intercourse to make her work more genuine. And then the story goes on from there. And our protagonist basically has a coming-of-age experience and attempts to win some form of independence for herself. So that's kind of a unique plot synopsis, isn't it? You don't really see that very often in films. And this Japanese film, 37 Seconds, really is kind of in the same tradition as Korean films of recent years or in the past, such as Oasis, If You Were Me, and Elbow Room was another one that's not so well known, in the sense that it does a really good job of taking down biases and preconceptions regarding people with cerebral palsy. And the lead role is actually played by a first-time actress who actually has cerebral palsy in real life. And that gives the film a certain legitimacy and the feel of a docudrama, really. And again, this is in the same casting strategy that was employed when the Koreans filmed Elbow Room and If You Were Me. Of course, the lead performance in Oasis was different, right? Which only further shows just how impressive Sori Moon's acting was in that film. But I do have a few observations about 37 Seconds, outside of the fact that it's actually a very good film that you should watch. Spoiler. But one of the more remarkable aspects of this movie, while I was watching it, is that the people that our protagonist meets seem kind of shady at first. Like, she meets a few people, they seem a little shady, but they're actually pretty nice. She builds throughout the film like a nice little group of reliable friends that help her work through her problems and help her establish the independence that she's looking for. And I think that was a really nice decision by the script writers, because if they really wanted to, they could have taken like the downbeat, depressing path with this film, but they chose not to. Not the case at all. This is actually a surprisingly delicate and endearing film. It's also rather intimate, and it shows that the physically handicapped can feel smothered by not being allowed to do anything for themselves. You know what I mean? They're just humans like the rest of us, and they want to accomplish certain things and do their own thing a lot of the time. And sometimes other people really don't feel like they're capable of doing it, and they get frustrated with this. And that's the main theme I got from this, and it's executed very well. There are a few scenes early on, during the opening half, that are a little bit sensual. Let's put it that way. But it's the same kind of thing that you would see in a similar coming-of-age film where the protagonist does not have cerebral palsy. So a lot of the times, like these kind of films, the good ones, are more impactful because they treat the lead protagonist in the same way as someone who does not have that physical disability. And then as a viewer, you end up seeing that person in the same way. So, again, this is very much in the same vein as like an Oasis, where it treats the physically disabled person as like the rest of us. And I think that's one of the big positives of this. And this is a really good film. It actually kind of surprised me how good it was. I definitely recommend this. It's actually currently available on Netflix in the United States, so check it out if you get a chance. And as always, we'll see you next time.